It's the post-match phone-in. Tonight we're discussing a rare victory. It's Luton Town 1, Hull nil. And with me as always to digest this match and take your calls, it's my co-host, it's Mark Ryman. How are we getting on, Ryman?
Yeah, good. I'm really good. Look, we won a game, and that feels a lot better than a 4-1 drubbing at the hands of Borough, doesn't it? So yeah, it's great to be back with a win. And there are definite issues. I'm sure we'll get discussing on them. But there's been some positives as well. I mean, after Edwards came out and said that Bell had pulled out the squad last minute. I think that's a pretty tough thing for the team to deal with, especially with Doughty not there. So it was always going to be a bit disjointed. But I think there was a lot of performance in there that was polar opposite to that of Borough. I'll pick out Tedamengi because I picked him out for negative reasons last time, so it's only fair that I do from the other side. And I think that he proved me and a lot of people wrong, and fair play to him. So excellent performance from him. For me, he was up there for man of the match. Um, and I think that, all of them defensively, Home, McGuinness, etc., threw their bodies on the line and showed they really care and they're playing for the manager. Millions of miles away from being perfect, definitely. And I don't think the next two games really determine whether we turned a corner or not, to be honest, regardless of how we'd played in that game. But you know, lots of positives. And I will just say this, and then I'll let other people phone and have their say. I think that it takes a lot to come out in a pre-match press conference and talk about personal struggles. And I think even though he didn't specifically say anything, I think that's excellent from Rob. And I thought the reception for him at the end of the game was great as well. I think mental health as an issue, particularly in men, is tough. Men don't come forward very often. So to have a manager and to talk about those things, not widely openly, but openly enough, I think is great. And the support that he got afterwards was great as well. So regardless of our conversations about him in a managerial sense, I think as a human being, I think that was incredibly powerful, and great to see as well. So yeah, lots of positives, fair few negatives as well, of course. But yeah, overall positive, definitely.
Unfortunately, it was all locked behind a paywall because I didn't know about all this stuff until people shared clips and referenced it in post match podcasts and whatnot. I had no idea they said all that stuff, and fair play. Maybe to shine a light on men's mental health, it would be nice if the club had actually not put that one behind the paywall, make it free to air for everyone to see. But the club do what they do. They're actually queuing up in the green room right now.
Yeah.
We'll go to Simon first, and then Lewis. So Lewis, please wait patiently, mate. Hope you're all good. Let's bring in Simon, shall we? It's hashtag in Tom Lockyer we trust, everyone's favourite person to hate on Twitter now that I'm no longer on Twitter.
Nah,
How you
I
getting on,
don't
mate?
come anywhere close to you. I don't go
That's right.
anywhere close to you, mate. Let's not get into that. You went off to another platform altogether.
I was never really one for Twitter anyway. I just don't post much. Whenever I do post, I get pelters, don't I?
Mate, there'll be a new pantomime film soon. There always is.
Anyway, so what was your take on the game? And you can talk about anything you want, really. You can talk about the program notes, the impending January transfer window. Just have at it, mate.
Let's start off with the game then, to be honest. Look, it wasn't pretty, but sometimes you need a shitty 1-0 win to kick things off. Sometimes you need that to get on to better form and better results. I think it's a shame that we've got Leeds away next because that's going to be a tough game. They score a lot of goals. Leeds do. They're a good team. But let's stick on this game. I think, like you said, Mengi was brilliant. I thought McGuinness was brilliant. I thought Tom Holmes played really well as well. I think that across the back. It was weird, like seeing Reece Burke out on on the right wing on his own at times, looking shell shocked. I felt sorry for the guy at times. He just turned back and played it back into defence, and I don't really blame him. I don't know why we didn't start Hashi or Moses in that game, but we got the result at the end of the day.
Yeah, I would probably guess that Burke would have been starting when Bell was fit. I think Rob alluded to going to about 4, and I know we started the game as about 5 against Hull with Chong as right wing back and left wing back and Burke as right wing back. But I think quickly, 10, 15 minutes in, we realised that wasn't working, and we went to about 4. But I would say that's probably it. Plus, Hashi's been away with Japan, right, for 2 games, so maybe that plays into it. But he was very good when
So
he
did
came on.
Nakamba.
Oh right, yeah, we're on that one, are we? Right, yeah, good.
I thought the Nakamba was bloody excellent.
Yeah, he was brilliant, wasn't he?
He is indeed. There was a stat that Luton Facts and Figures put out. Big shout out to Will. He does a tremendous job on that account, as well as with me on Hatters Heritage. Our average goals conceded without Nakamba in the team, 2.5 goals a game. With Nakamba, 1.05 goals per game. It just goes to show Nakamba has to start every game that he is possibly able to start.
Every single minute he could play, he should be.
Yeah.
And not getting into because I know that at times we have been a bit guilty of running players into the ground through necessity in recent times more than anything. And maybe it's caution on Edwards' end about what minutes he's putting in the Canberra's tank at the minute. But now he's indispensable. Like I think you said in your video, you'd like to see him get 60 minutes. I think that's fair against Leeds. If we could get 60 minutes out of him, that'd be excellent. I thought Liam Walsh, that was his best game for us as well. I thought Walsh was really good. I know that he's got his critics, but I thought that was his best shift in a Luton shirt so far. Morris had an off day. We're all capable of having them. I thought Morris was playing for fouls a bit too often, and it was quite clear from the start the referee was not interested in giving easy fouls for Luton anyway. Elijah did what he could, got himself about. Brown, I thought, was all right. I thought he did well too. 1-0 suited us. The conditions were insane. Like the wind rattling around that stadium. And then watching Kaminsky playing around with it at the back had me worried for a bit. But we did it. We got the job done and we kept a clean sheet.
Yes, somehow. I don't really know how they didn't score. But yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. We got the job done. Walsh, I agree. I think it was his best game in Luton shirt. Easily came on, made a massive difference. And yeah, because he had a defensive midfielder behind him, didn't he, to be able to give him that freedom to come forward. Who knew? I thought Shanda Baptiste's set pieces were very good as well, actually. There was the corner that went to Mengi,
on Baptiste quickly, Mark. Sorry, before I forget.
No.
I just want to add this about Baptiste, because I think Lewis is waiting, and I think he said something similar. He's a bit frustrating, is Shanda Baptiste. He's a frustrating player so far this season. Excellent deliveries on those set pieces. I thought he offered something different. But aside from that, he seems reluctant to get stuck in because of these injuries that he's had.
It's because he's made of glass, mate.
Yeah, he seemed like he's got brittle bones. And if that's who we brought in, relying on game in, game out for the Barkley factor, we did make a bit of a mistake.
Well, that brings us on to discussing the January transfer window then. So we got Fanny coming in, and everyone loves a bit of Fanny. Yeah, you got a great reception in the. We're going to look like idiots when it turns out his name is literally just Fan or something like that.
I guarantee the song will be pronounced the way you said it beforehand.
It's going to be
absolutely guaranteed.
We got Fanny on our team. On our team.
No. Oh no! I can see the Twitter post now.
Yeah, but the
January transfer window.
Yeah, go on. Give us your thoughts, and then
I
we'll
think
get
we
Lewis
need
on.
someone fresh up the top
Yeah, but
because they're clearly not trusting Joe Taylor to do it.
no. But remember, in the summer window, Joe Taylor was on the verge of leaving. So much so, someone papped him at Luton Parkway Stadium and sent it to me, and then everyone was accusing me of following Joe Taylor around. Um, the idea was Joe Taylor goes out, we get someone in, but we couldn't get anyone in. But shouldn't it be a case of maybe Corley Woodrow goes out as well, and then maybe we get two in to like completely freshen up that front line altogether?
Listen, you know my thoughts on Woodrow. I think Woodrow should have been gone on the season we went up to the Premier League, but that's by the by. I think that for Corley Woodrow and for Luton Town, it's at a point where we say, look, thanks, but it didn't work out. Go try your luck somewhere else with, nothing but good wishes. I think
Who's gonna
that's
take
something
him?
that should happen.
Who's
I was
gonna
going to
take
say the
him?
same
Let's
thing.
send him there. They had him before.
They didn't want him when we bought him off him.
Oh,
They
damn. We
weren't
can
that
try again.
disappointed. I think strikers are going to be a tough one, though, aren't they, in the January window? Let's be honest.
No one's selling their strikers.
Yeah, it's always a tough one. What about wing backs?
I heard Ronnie Edwards
let's
might
take
be
the
out for a
obvious.
loan.
Sorry, I missed that. What did you say?
I heard Ronnie Edwards might be up for loan.
Oh, we're never getting Ronnie Edwards.
I
Never.
heard that he might be going to go on loan
And
somewhere. Try our luck. Why not?
Defense is one of the only positions we don't need anyone.
Yeah, for now, mate.
Probably going to have Tom Lockyer coming back and getting registered in January as well. That takes us up to 25. So the only way we can add people into the squad, with the exception of Fanny, is because he's under 21, so he doesn't need to be registered. Young Fanny.
Kate can't edit that one out.
No, sorry, Kate. Kate's in the chat. We don't need to register Fanny, so the only way we add anyone in once we've registered Tom Lockyer is to move players on. But can you realistically see these players moving on? Like
not in January, perhaps.
It's tough, isn't it? I can only see Joe Taylor moving. That's the only player I see moving, and he's one that we should be keeping because we are going to regret it because he's a goal scorer. We're going to regret it when we sell him onto someone with a low fee and a massive sell-on, and he goes bags a load of goals, and we get like a portion. The kid knows how to score goals, regardless of division. Like the kid knows how to score.
It's a shame. Yeah. It's a shame because I think that he's destined to go. Because why would you stay?
Yeah.
Well, why would you stay when you know that you are wanted elsewhere and you'll get games?
All these players cost money though, and as regarding Gary Sweet's boardroom notes, he doesn't want to deal with unscrupulous agents. Like if he's getting busy calling out agents, we know how this goes. I remember when Mike Newell called out agents. It never ends well. And
let's hope it doesn't end in that way.
No, it's not gonna go like that because we are 100% not making illegal payments to agents, although everyone is. Let's get real about it. Everyone is. But with Gary Sweet alienating agents in that case, and the fact that it's gone around the internet today, will people want to deal with us? Like, the game's the game. The price is the price.
Agents have been a part of football for a very long time now. Nobody should be shocked that agents would be gouging teams coming down from the Premier League. It should have been expected. You should know how to deal with that. You say we do things a Luton way and that's under attack. Well, maybe you should have adapted that Luton way a little bit in our new reality with our new financial might being known by all and sundry.
Yeah.
Is anyone else slightly worried about this new stadium? If Gary doesn't like the contractors, are we going to end up with half a roof? Because let's be honest, he can walk outside his house and let him know that the sky's blue. Agents are unscrupulous. I mean, come on, what a ridiculous thing to put in the program notes. And they don't get any more scrupulous in January. They
prices go up, don't they?
Yeah, I find it odd, but you know, I get the Luton way of doing things, and you know everybody knows that we run our club in a brilliant way, but you know we have to have some level of realism about where we are, and if we
Yep.
want players, we're going to have to pay the price for them, or we're going to find ourselves scrapping around 19th, 20th, 21st place in the league, and that's the simple truth of the matter.
Lightning doesn't strike twice, they say. You know, we've done it the way we did it, and we got to the Premier League. Everyone knows now. That's the problem. It's not plucky little Luton anymore. It's Luton with all that money burning a hole in their pocket.
Mm. Yeah, it's a case of, oh, Luton are looking at this player. Hmm. Get the agent on the blower, and then let's see if we can raise this price and leak it to the press and let everyone know that Luton are in for this player, so other people are alerted to them because it must be a good one. You know, we've seen that with a lot of people. I think Raksaki was one of them. Luton were in for him, and then it got leaked to the press, and then everyone was in for him. And same with Tom Cannon. Nevertheless, Simon, we're going to get Lewis in. Thank you very much.
No worries,
joining
guys.
us,
Have a good
mate.
evening. Good to see you smiling, Mark.
See how long it lasts with Leeds away, yeah.
Have a good one, lad.
See you, mate. Bye.
Right. I see in the comments people saying I didn't have COVID. I was actually on the beach. So it's actually my light. Look at this. I can go whatever color you want me to be. So I think I'll stick with orange, you know, for Luton Town. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Right. Shall we get Lewis in then?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, let's get Lewis in. Yeah, the less of me talking, the better. Evening, Lewis. I hope you're well, mate.
Hello.
Hello.
I could be better.
I know. So you had a little collapse, did you?
Yeah, I thought Luton was going to kill me, but apparently not.
Oh, dear.
So what's your take on the game and Sweet's pre-match notes and the January transfer window? Go for it, mate.
Well, let me just get me started with the Gary Sweet stuff that come out today. Like, honestly, I feel like some of our fans need a bit of perspective. We've had it so good for the last 10 years. You know, our story is very unique, and I don't see another club repeating it. Like, it's very difficult to do what we've achieved. Now, look, they are going to make mistakes. These owners are bored. They're fans. They're going to make mistakes. And of course, when they make mistakes, it runs down throughout the rest of the football club. It reflects on the pitch and also off the pitch as well. So they are going to make mistakes. We've had, one poor year in the last 5 years. And I'm seeing comments like they're out of their depth. What is going on? Like, our fans, okay, look, this season hasn't gone to plan. Yes, I think they've been overly ambitious before the season started. And yes, I feel like our recruitment could have been better in the year of 2024. But look, let's hope they can sort this out and 2025 can be a much better year. But despite saying all that, I do think we're going to get hammered by Leeds. But I'm glad we beat Hull.
Yeah. I think we could have got hammered by Leeds regardless of what Luton actually is playing like at the moment. To be honest, they're just such a juggernaut in the league, aren't they? It's interesting what you say. No, I completely agree. I've said it before. You know, we've had it so good for so long as Luton fans. You know, that graph of us going up throughout the leagues, etc. I think the way that Gary's worded some of the comments though doesn't help him. It makes a rod for his own back. I mean, I don't think they're out their depth, and I think that they've had some very good levels of recruitment. I just think that they need to accept that they need to evolve. Now we're a different club, fundamentally a different club to the club that was in the Championship before we got promoted. That's not me saying we should be spending millions and millions, and it's not me saying I expect us to go up. But we are not shopping in the same places, and kind of as Si said, you know, we can't expect to keep unearthing gems like we were. It just can't keep happening. I think, to be fair, there's a rumor going around I saw on the internet earlier that we're looking to recruit some more recruitment staff to help out Mick. So I don't know whether that's true or not. I think that was there by
Well, if
one of
it's
the
on the
Sun
internet,
journalists.
it's got to be true, right?
I think it was Alan Nixon, so he's
Yeah.
50-50. But you know, I think it's that more than anything for me is that is is that we kind of have to realize, you know, that we are a different club, and you know the last two windows have been poor. And I guess that, you know, January will be an interesting one to see how they go forward, right?
Who's the bloke we brought in from the Dutch club? Youssef something. Um,
He's the replacement. He's the new guy, which Anna Nixon failed to do any research on.
yeah,
Oh,
So
right,
because
right.
I
we've
was
already
Brought
sure
that
done a
in.
recruitment.
yeah, I was sure
Okay,
we'd
fair
already
enough.
brought the replacement in.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
I
but
was
Mick,
short
assuming it was
news, I'm
someone
afraid.
else.
yeah, Mick is 65. It's understandable that he needed help, and young blood's not the end of the world to have, um, because yeah, recruitment has been poor. Um, but regardless, as soon as we rock up somewhere, we're not going to be able to do the whole, hire purchase of players anymore like we used to. Like oh, here's 100 grand if and here's a million if we get promoted. Here's another million if he makes an appearance. Here's another 5 million if he wins the Ballon d'Or. We can't do that anymore because people know we have the money to pay up front. Um, it's it's frustrating in January because we do need these reinforcements now, and it's going to be an elevated market. It's a seller's market, so everyone raises their prices. We're going to get a rude awakening. Good thing we've already got Fanny in from the summer window. But I don't see where we're going to be recruiting unless we're potentially bringing in Premier League loans. I just don't see it.
Well, regards to the recruitment side of things, yeah, we've got to realise we're not going to be shopping in the same window. Well, we're not going to be competing with the likes of Sheffield United and Burnley. We can't do that. We're going to get outpriced. If I'm being honest here, when you're looking like a club like Sheffield Wednesday, for example, a club that hasn't performed well over the last 5 years, if you're a player and Sheffield Wednesday and Luton approach you, the caliber of a massive club like Sheffield Wednesday is far more attractive. So we have to admit that. So compared to a lot of teams in the Championship, we're looking at a complete different caliber of players, and that's why I always compare us to Brighton. Brighton do not look at the same players that Liverpool are looking at. They're looking at different ones. Why? Because they know they can get the other players in, and they look on the data approach. They can't spend multiple millions of pounds on these players because they can't. They just won't be able to compete. Liverpool will always, and Man United, Man City, they will always be able to get these more attractive players in because they've got the money. We have to be smarter. We've got to find another way, whether that's using data, whether that's going to the Netherlands and signing players over there,
It's going
Sweden,
abroad.
Norway.
Yeah, it's going
Yeah, we've
abroad.
got to
That's
look
where you
at
get your
different.
value.
Yeah, you got to look at it. Okay, if we're going to get charged 7 million for Poku, who's the Peterborough winger, who's doing unbelievable, who turned us down prior on the last day of the transfer window, then we've got to look at, can we get a £2 million player in the Swedish league that can do the exact same thing as what he can do? We've just got to try something different, like we have done. With this argument about like signing players that are injury prone, you know, we're taking a gamble. Every transfer is a gamble. Alfie, when we signed him from Stoke, he was not wanted at Stoke. But look, he's one of our best players. It's it's part of football, I'm afraid. Like these gambles have to happen. Some are going to work, some are not. And of course, recently, some just haven't worked as much as we would have liked.
It's like Mads Anderson, who ironically was never injured. Well, he had like one significant
Exactly.
injury, but other than that, yeah, he's pretty much been a consistent player. That's an unfortunate one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really frustrated me because, yeah, like you say, never been injured before, and then he's been constantly injured. And then we sign a player like Baptiste, who comes to Luton to want to play regular first team football because he wasn't getting it at Brentford, and yet he's made a glass. I think he's picked up his fourth injury so far this season. It's frustrating, isn't it?
yeah. But I mean, I agree with you, Lewis, to a point. But do you not think as well that we aren't the same club as Burnley. I totally agree with what you're saying on that. We're not going to get players that would go to Burnley. I'm fine with that idea, but we aren't the same Luton Town that were in the Championship previously. Whether that's we're not the same in terms of, I'm not talking about stature of the club. I'm not even talking about huge budget really, but we're not the same club to agents, to players as well, and that makes finding those gems harder. So we do have to evolve the way we do. Like you said, going abroad is one of those options, but we were in for some of those players. I'm not saying that all of the rumours were true, but we were clearly in for Tom Cannon. That was definitely on the table, wasn't it? Raksaki, I don't know. But isn't there a point where with some of these players, especially the Premier League loans, and we go, if we've got to pay an extra £1 million signing on fee for those players, then surely for the sake of where we're at and where we want to be, then sometimes that's important. I'm not saying we spend loads, but is there sort of a middle ground basically to what I'm saying between what you're saying and what some of the things online are that we should be throwing £50 million at the January transfer window, which I think is ridiculous. Is there a sort of middle ground here where we could be doing better?
Of course, there's got to be a calculated, risk and assessment on each scenario. Really, was McGuinness worth the money we spent? Probably not. But I think we left it so late and we weren't proactive enough. We had no choice to spend the money. So I think we have done it. It's just probably not on the right players which people maybe would have wanted. So it's something that we're going to have to assess. I do think we shouldn't be getting bullied in transfer negotiations, and that's what I think's happened in the summer, and that's what I think Gary's Sweet's notes were kind of saying, that we would get some of the fees quoted back which we were getting was just ridiculous, and I don't think we should be overspending. But despite when I look at, and again, I'm going to refer to Brighton and Brentford, they're getting successful year upon year upon year, but yet they're still able to get these players in, get these gems through the door. So they're doing something right. They're being smarter. We've got to be smarter as well. I know it's harder for us because we've got less money, but the more successful you get, the more smarter you got to get. So hopefully employing these new recruitment staff in, we're able to explore that side of things. And signing a player like Walters, unfortunately, getting injured, he looks like a massive gem. Imagine if we can get more of these academy prospects in who are turning down first team deals at Premier League clubs and they're coming to us on free transfers. That'd be even more amazing. But obviously, of course, in January, you can't do that. So I'm expecting loans. I know we don't like a loan deal, but I think for our scenario and our situation this season, we've kind of got no choice. We're going to have to explore that. And then maybe look at, players at championship clubs that maybe haven't been playing regularly for the first part of the season, because they're gonna want to move and take the gamble that way around. But I feel like the hardest bit isn't getting players through the door; it's getting rid of players. For us, you're looking at so many players that I think we need to get rid of, because you think you can only have a 25-man squad. So, and I think we've only got a 24 players signed up. So we've only got one space available. So we need to get rid of players before we actually bring in some. And or do we take the risk and just have so many players but just don't include them in the final 25? So I think that's the hardest bit, is getting rid of players.
You're so right. We are terrible at getting rid of players. It always ends up being loan them out until their contract's done, or mutually terminate. We're terrible at selling players, even when there are players that are quite in demand. Like even then, we struggle. We struggle to get a decent fee for them. An interesting point you mentioned about Brentford, and I see it mentioned in the comments as well. People forget Brentford were actually the team that put the cherry on the cake of our relegation back in League Two in 2009. Um, they are a club until their recent consecutive Premier League seasons. Brentford are very much a club of the same size of Luton. They are. Until recently, we had better history than them as well. And Brentford, their transfer model, which was ahead of its time, and it's something that we should be looking to do. Look at Brian Mbeumo. I think they got him from, was it Montpellier or somewhere in France for 500k? And look at him now. He's ripping up the Premier League. That is what we need to be doing. And the mind boggles that we haven't been doing that, because that they've done this whole thing: buy low, sell high, repeat, and that is how they generated their money. Yes, they have Matthew Bentham, who's like one of the wealthiest people in England, I think. But at the same time, like, Bentham isn't punting in hundreds of millions to them. They're generating their own revenue by buying and selling players. It's really frustrating that we haven't been exploiting that foreign market. But I guess it is what it is, isn't it? And hopefully Gary Sweet's learnt his lessons, and we can continue to evolve.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, I think they are learning. They're learning on the job. You think they've been in ownership since 2000? Is it 2009?
2007.
Yeah, 2007. So that it's less than 20 years. Whereas you look at a lot of these owners now, they've either got so much money in the bank that they can throw, or they've been in business for over 60 years. And I'm no disrespect to Gary Sweet, but he used to be in the terrace week in, week out. Now, I don't know what he did as a normal day-to-day job, but I'm pretty sure he was
communications, and he was a director at Siemens. He's a commercial guy. He's commercial.
It's quite funny how you say commercial, because I think our commercial side of the football club is absolutely shocking.
That's Chris Bell. That's Chris Bell. I think he's very hamstrung by budget, but it's piss poor. I meant commercial is in the sense that he works like in business and stuff like that. Whereas it's a bit different from like selling stuff.
Yeah,
basically, he's a business guy. He's got a business mindset.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, like, I don't think he wasn't a multi-billionaire going to games week in, week out, was he? So he's never had any history of running a football club of, Luton is a massive business. So they're going to make mistakes. They're all going to make mistakes. And the club's never been relegated from the Premier League before. So that's one thing. They're going through all this period of learning. Okay, right, this is what happens when you get relegated from the Premier League. This is what happens when clubs quote you X amount. I think right now it's about, right, what have we learned? Because we can't repeat that January transfer window which we had in the Premier League. Make sure that doesn't get repeated, but also having plan B, a plan C, a plan D, just having different ways of going, right, we can't do what we like to do. What can we do instead? And that's what I really hope they've learned. And they're not the only ones. Edwards as well. I really hope he's learned a lot this year. I would love to think we've, turn a page, but I don't know. We'll soon find out against Leeds and Norwich this week. It'd be absolutely amazing if we can walk away from those two games with a point. That would really motivate, and I think really would make everyone positive amongst the fan base, getting a point both at Leeds and Norwich, and then go into the back-to-back home games, hopefully trying to win both home games.
Yeah, very good points. Thank you, Lewis, for joining us. Yep. We'll bring in Tyler now. Have a good evening, mate.
Cheers,
Lewis.
Right. So we've got Tyler from T-Boys TV. Thank you for your patience, Tyler, mate. How are you getting on?
Hello.
Hi, Tyler. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm all good. How are you guys?
Yeah, doing all right.
Good. How did you see the game then?
So it was quite good actually, in the sense of my view anyway, of the game. So
you were in the bobbers, weren't you?
Yeah, two games this season. I've been in a newsstand. And
You've been at the back, or did you bring your brolly?
I had to be right at the front, which was a bit of a downside. But I was literally right next to. I could literally see Rob Edwards, shouting at the players and stuff. I was literally right next to him, so that was pretty cool. But my thoughts on the actual game, I mean, it wasn't vintage like a lot of performances haven't been. I did think in spells we were good, especially from corners. I felt we were very good from them. There was a spell where it felt like it was just a matter of time, really, before we'd get the first goal. From especially when we had the rampant display at the corners. Anyway, it didn't start off the best, but I thought, the urgency and the press that was there from a lot of players. Usually, it's like one or two players. I felt, it was there. It was just we were quite sloppy in possession at times, and that was the problem in the game. I felt, yes, Morris was getting held onto like he always does and stuff, but I felt in possession at times when he was trying to, pass the ball and stuff, he was a little bit sloppy. There was a few others, and obviously, the weather plays a part in that. But it was another one where, let's be honest, if we play a better team, they would have punished us. Hull had some great opportunities. They had the diving header in the first half, and I was like, how have they not scored from that? A few good other chances as well. Mengi with some brilliant blocks, and obviously he's had a bit of, question marks over his determination. At the football club in recent games. But I thought this game he was a very close man in the match for me. I thought defensively we were, decent. As much as they had their golden chances, like I said, I felt, we were a lot better, and I was happy for McGuinness to get his goal. Because he's been coming close a lot from set pieces. And it was good that he got it off the mark, and obviously scored 2 goals, but obviously the other one didn't quite count. And there were 2 really nice strikes for a centre back.
That second one was absolutely beautiful, wasn't it? Smashed it in. Such a shame that went out first.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, like I said, I was happy for him, especially because, like I say, he's come close in a lot of the games from the set pieces. And that's one good thing since he's come in that we have seen. He does look very good from, aerial threats. From set pieces and stuff, and even as an aerial player when it comes to, bar that the QPR game, when he missed it, and sort of hesitated. I think other than that, in the air, he's shown that he's good in that aspect.
Yeah. What are your thoughts ahead of the January transfer window, which is fast approaching?
Well, like was mentioned, we're going to have to get rid of players. I do think Taylor will unfortunately be one of them, whether it's loan or with an option to buy and then permanently. I did obviously manage to get a lot of pictures with the players the other day, and I saw him first, and I sort of didn't want to go over because I just feel sorry for him, to be honest. I didn't really want to bother him in that sense, but he'll be off the marks. I don't know. I've always felt, for quite a while now, as much as I think, Morris and Elijah, they've shown that they can score at this level. Obviously, we've got Brown behind them as well. I don't know. I just feel we need someone with a bit of experience to help them up front.
Like Cameron Jerome.
Yeah, sort of someone just with that wealth of experience, even if they're not like a starting player, just someone to, drive them on essentially. I felt that for quite a while because, I don't know, I mean, you look at, obviously it was great that we got, Moses in, I feel, for the experience, but he's going to be played more as a wing back. He's not going to be, up there like maybe you'd want to see him. So, I don't know, someone there, hopefully someone to replace Taylor, I guess, in that sense. I don't know, I don't know. Obviously, we'll have to get rid of, quite a lot of players, but I just don't really know who really goes in January, bar Taylor, really. I think a lot of them will just be more in the summer, to be honest. If I'm going to be honest,
it's a tough window. It's a really, really tough window.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I'm not his biggest fan, but I can still see Woodrow being in and around it. And it's just, I don't know, it's just one of them where I look at it and I feel, I don't know, as much as Lamine seems like he's good as a CDM. You don't want to put all that expectation on him. He's only 20 years old, so I don't know. I still feel we need. I don't know if you guys are the same, but I feel we'd still need another midfielder probably. But then that means getting rid of someone.
Space. Yeah, we don't have the space.
Yeah.
I don't know who would even go, to be honest.
No.
Remember, we have Zach Nelson. Zach Nelson needs to be given a chance. I'd like to see Zach Nelson playing alongside Marvellous Nakamba. Although Marvellous Nakamba was the most advanced of the three midfielders for large parts of the game, which really ground my gears.
Yeah,
I think we.
go on.
Sorry, I was just going to say. I think with Fanny coming in, I do think that we
Yeah.
will have. There we go. Yeah, I do think that we will have quite a lot in the middle of the park. It's just a combination of them. For me, as I was saying earlier, the obvious for me is who plays wide, wing back, full back, whatever you want call it. I think obviously we should have Alfie and Royal Walters back in the new year. Although Alfie's still sort of, we're not 100% sure on the exact length. I know Rob's alluded to sort of January time. But for me, we've always needed a backup there anyway. On the left-hand side, since we got rid of Giles, we've not backed him up. Bell is not a wing back. I think Bell's an excellent left centre back, and we miss him when he doesn't play. But he's not a wing back, and he gets caught out of possession there. I think Hashi's done well, but I do think that both him and Royal Walters are probably better at being on the right-hand side of a 4 than a 5. Moses probably gives us an option there on the right-hand side, so it's not too bad, and we don't tend to play wingers. But I just think, I think someone else in that, and then as well, just people that can take set pieces too. Now we've got Baptiste back, but is he always going to be fit? If Doughty's not there, who's going to take them? Probably Walsh, you'd argue. But yeah, I think for me it's that the wide areas. I'm not convinced by Chong out wide. I still think I prefer Chong in the middle of the park with a bit more of a free rein behind the front two. But yeah, that for me is the area that we probably need to strengthen.
Who are we going to get that's going to come in and want to play second fiddle to Alfie Doughty when he returns to fitness, though? That's the problem.
Yeah. No, exactly, and that's what January's tough, isn't it? That's where you need the summer transfer window, I suppose, as well. But it's even if it is a younger player like we did with Roy Walters, although he's going to get more game time from it, or an experienced head. We just need someone out there, I think, that can come in, because I'm not convinced by Bell, and his injury record at the moment isn't great either. So I guess that's it for me. I think if Elijah, Morris and Brown are fit, I'm not actually that worried about a striker. But one problem is that Taylor going means our pace. I mentioned this to you, Ollie, in one of our last podcasts, is that I feel like we've got a hell of a lot slower as a team, and we lose Taylor, we lose our probably our biggest weapon in terms of pace. Not that we ever play him.
So true.
And that's so difficult to replace. Yeah. Really difficult to replace.
So, Tyler, any summarising thoughts?
It was just on in general with us at the moment. We just need that consistency, really. That's the thing. Yes, we've got a difficult game on Wednesday, but we should realistically, like, as much as they're a great side, we should be competing with them. And that's the thing. If we, I'm sure if we, give it a right go, narrowly lost, I'm sure majority of people would accept that. But it's the fact that we've been so poor away. The last time we was in the Championship, we dug deep in a lot of the games and narrowly won, but it was still good. And then even then, on top of that, you had some away games that were just, we wouldn't win convincingly, but we'd just look comfortable. And obviously that's not going to happen on Wednesday, but we just need to perform, really. Without getting into it too much. Norwich, I don't know, it's a bit of an interesting one now, that one, because they finally lost at home. I mean, it's an opportunity. They are only a point above us. The way a lot of people are going on is like they're, way above us, like they're like where Leeds are, for example. So I don't know, it's all interesting, but we just need to, compete. That's the thing. If we just roll over like we have in a lot of away games, especially the last one, then it's just not good enough.
Yeah, very well said. Thank you, Tyler. Really appreciate you, mate.
Hey, Tyler.
No worries. Thank you guys for bringing me on.
Thanks, buddy.
It's an interesting one, actually, because the Norwich game was where Rob Edwards' season sort of kick-started, didn't it? It'd be
the home game, Crawley Woodrow.
It'd be It'd be
What?
poetic, wouldn't it? If
Oh, that would be, yeah.
not if Corley Woodrow scored, but I mean it'd be poetic if we could go there, do them away, and
Yeah. I mean that on paper obviously is an easier game, but then it's worth pointing out that I'm going to that, so that's pretty much put the final nail in the coffin because I haven't seen us win yet this season, so yeah, it's that's the one that does it. I mean, but yeah, I mean Norwich away, the Morris goal was at the start of the season, wasn't it? I think we're still under Jones at that point, but yeah. Those are the sort of wins that Tyler was talking about. The Norwich 1-0 away, didn't overrun them, but never looked in trouble. Sheffield United away, that 1-0, those kind of games where, gritty 1-0 wins. And it looks like when we're playing teams, particularly the Cov and the Borough game, but, even if we go back to Plymouth, we're giving away very, very dangerous chances at will. And we're not doing much the other end. It's not a good combination to have. And yeah, you want to see some of the home spirit and fight at least away from home. I don't think anyone's expecting us to get anything from Leeds away. And I don't even mind if we lose, 2 or 3-0, because I think Leeds can do that to any team. But it's how we set up, it's how we play, and it's how easily we let them go through us. But yeah, we'll see. We will see on that one. But at least we've got a win under our belts. We needed it with these 2 games coming up.
Yeah. Kate says lock Mark in his cupboard so he can't go to the game and jinx it. I'm all for that. Yeah, you have your new boiler to keep you company.
I think my wife's looking forward to getting rid of me for the weekend, I'm afraid, Kate, so she might let me out. So, yeah.
But I think that's us done for this week. Sorry to everyone that we didn't have it Sunday at 9 o'clock. I was picking up a mate from Luton Airport. His flight got very delayed, and it would have been too late to kick this off. And yeah, so we're doing these once a week now. We're gonna cancel the midweek phone-ins, although myself and Mark, we said maybe we'll do one if we beat Leeds, but to be honest, there's a better chance that I win the lottery and relocate Mark and his family down south here, so not gonna happen. We'll see what happens against Leeds. Let's be having them. And as always, before I go, not come on you Hatters, if you're watching this and you're not subscribed to our channel, please remember to subscribe. But most importantly, come on you Hatters.